This meeting is being recorded.
Hello and welcome to the Spoonies with Purpose podcast. And today I have the pleasure of interviewing Bonnie Sorsby all about purpose. So Bonnie, tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? What do you do?
Yes, good morning, Julie, and everyone who will be listening to this later. My name is Bonnie. I am based in South Florida. I live down in Southeast Florida. It's a beautiful place to live, I have to admit. I love the sunshine here. And I am a multi-passionate creative. That's kind of how I would categorize myself, I guess. I've been a photographer and branding expert, growing into that expert for the last 15 years. And I'm also an artist, so I'm a painter.
Beautiful. And we might hear a little bit more about that later. But first of all, can you tell us a little bit about your history with a long-term health condition?
Yeah. So I was healthy, probably nearly, my entire childhood and then well into my adult life. And about 6 years ago, I injured myself. Not anything crazy, just kind of a minor injury, trimming a hedge, and my health just spiraled. And I went a good year and a half, which in hindsight is a lot more of a positive time frame than a lot of people who end up diagnosed with Lyme disease as I did. But that ended up my diagnosis after a family friend urged us to have me tested for that, specifically through non-traditional means. And I got that diagnosis, and then so began the healing journey. And it's been a roller coaster, as I think so many of us can probably relate with when it comes to any long-term health condition. And Lyme is considered an autoimmune type disease, and it's also parasitic in nature. And for me, it presented itself in a lot of neurological ways. So that was really challenging, a lot of bodily pain, things like that.
Yeah.
But I've come a long way since then, and I'm really grateful. So
Fabulous. Well, it's lovely to have you here talking about purpose. So let's jump in with that. Tell me a little bit, Bonnie, about what purpose means to you.
Yeah, when I think of purpose, I feel like that's a very loaded word. And I don't think of purpose as like a singular thing that we strive for. I really see purpose. Gosh, I wish I could remember who the quote is by, but it's like, it's not that thing that you do, it's what happens in other people when you do what you do. And so I think of purpose, and I think of how it relates to like me as a mother, me as a wife, me as, a business owner, and the way that I connect with my clients, my art and the way that it touches people and inspires people. Like it presents itself in a lot of different ways, and it's not necessarily so direct and like a singular. So many people choose a job and they're like a teacher, so this is my purpose, and they feel like it leaves them there. But I see it much wider.
I love that. And actually, I feel that that's a really important definition or way of looking at things, particularly for people living with a long-term health condition who might think that the purpose of a specific purpose like teaching something or might have been lost to them in that moment, whereas actually we have purpose in so many different ways. And I love the idea of purpose being the impact that you have on the people around you. And one other thing that I would add to everything that you said is the purpose in how you impact on yourself as well. And in healing, in self-care, in growth, all of that is an additional aspect to the ways you describe purpose.
Yes, definitely. I think too, I really believe wholly that we are on like an earth school type journey. So, we're here to learn things and to grow, to evolve. And so a lot of that is definitely inner work, And also from that inner work, then how we're able to better serve others and people that we care about. So definitely.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely. Um, Now, before we had this interview, you sent me a couple of blog posts you've been writing recently that talk about a change in the way the world is going to be expressed in the next couple of years. And I'd like to ask you how you feel that that relates to purpose.
So I think, gosh, it's such a big topic. Some of those blog posts, and there's a lot more blog posts on a bunch of these topics, and kind of like looking at it through a more specific lens, I would say, in little
Yeah,
pockets, because it's such a broad idea. We're talking about like the entire collective and just how we all are as community and as individuals as part of the community. So we are moving from what's known as, this is all human design related systems of belief, I'll say. And
okay.
these are based on 1,000-year-old teachings like the I Ching. And it's deep, it's somewhat philosophical. It's also a little scientific when you like start digging into it, which I've got a blog post that goes into some of that, breaks it down. I feel so new at sharing these ideas verbally. They're things that I've been studying for years, and now to
Yeah,
like be sharing about them is really new for me. It makes me a little like excited and also nervous. But
yeah.
so we're moving from what has been known as the cross of planning, and when we talk about these incarnation crosses in human design, we're talking about really like long cycles. So this cross of planning, that we've been in this collective cross of planning cycle for almost 400 years, to put into perspective. So moving into a new cross is going to be sleeping phoenix era, as I'm like dubbing it, which is actually my personal incarnation cross. We each have our own based on our unique designs, astrologically based. And so we're moving into this new energy where we're leaving behind a lot of this really fixed, structured, like, I don't know if anyone here is familiar with astrological themes, but it's very like Capricorn. It's very, yeah, I think you can kind of imagine what these like hierarchical systems that we've been living in are like, the more like top-down structure and
Yeah,
not this, not a true collective kind of effort, I guess.
yeah,
And so we'll be moving into a new energy where it's very much individualized. And it's not to say that we're going to be like, out on our own and that's it. And, it's me against the world. It's not like that at all. It's just going to be one where we are really able to like tune in to like, what do I need to thrive? And how can I, you know, serve the world with the gifts and that purpose that I came here with. And
yeah.
so I personally have been using astrology, human design, and also the Gene Keys system, which is another just fantastic rabbit hole if you are spiritually minded and doing the work, as they say. It's incredible systems, but I use these in my personal life to kind of clarify my own purpose in different regard. And it really like opens things up in these different ways that I'm showing up. And there are things in my personal astrology chart that I can see really show me why I'm homeschooling, like why that became part of my life. Um, I can see why I, want to serve others in creative ways. I can see that too in my chart. And it's incredible. It's really incredible.
Oh, beautiful. So I just want to share my understanding of what you were talking about a little bit, just to clarify, and maybe you can help me clarify it for me
Yes,
too.
sure.
So the idea is the last 400 years have been characterized by a kind of societal structure that has been from the outside in, that has been about us finding a way of fitting into the structure in order for society to work together. And we're moving into a new way, which is about the expression of our inner being, expression of who we are, and a trust that leads to the greater good in itself, that we no longer need those external structures, that by just expressing what comes up and through us is what the world needs. Is that right?
That I feel like that was spot on, and it was a really different way than I have been trying to explain it, I feel, but at the same time it really fits. And I love the way that you said from the inside out instead of that outside in. And it's, and obviously I think so much about, like, obviously all of these big corporations are still going to exist, or new ones are going to form, and and there are certain people who thrive in those environments.
Yeah.
But it's not all of us. And I think a big part of this will be, yes, that you'll be able to both, like, feel and understand those unique gifts that you have and how you work best, and just how your energy is designed to be in society. And it's going to, yes, I believe, lead to the greater good.
Cool. Now, personally, I believe that my purpose is involved in supporting other people to step out of those structures and to turn to expressing what comes from within. So as a holistic life coach, that's how I see my role in perhaps being involved in this change that's happening over the next few years. And I'm hearing from you this sense of you're helping to share the meaning in it all using astrology. Is that right?
Yeah, I think I'm, like, sharing a way to connect to it,
Yeah.
to that energy through it, like, because there's the human design system itself. Well, I also use that in some of my practices, but I use them together really because I think that they each offer something unique and different, and it's just a different lens to see the world through, and
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen certain methods may land with one person that don't with another, or,
Yeah.
even just very specific language, a change in language makes something click for someone. And so I use both. Yeah, it's
And I think that's highlighting how important our individuality is, in that in sharing through our own unique lens, we have a message that will be helpful to other people out there that they might not be able to take from anybody else. They might not be able to understand the language of somebody else. So I absolutely love how you just explained it as putting your own unique perspective from your learnings, because it sounds like you've studied this for a long time, and spreading it out there to ease the way.
Yeah, I think a lot of what I'm trying to do is really meet people where they are. I've been working on a lot of things that have to do with connecting with other creatives, because I see the blocks that other creatives have, and other entrepreneurs, because a lot of what I do is, like, branding, like I do copywriting, photography, all sorts of things like that, just kind of helping people really, like, hone their messaging, things like that,
Yeah.
with my main business. And then the art the art came after. I would love to share about that too, because I think that's a really cool story about how that came to be. And if you have spiritually minded friends here, I think they would probably enjoy that. But
I'd love to hear about that.
yeah, so during my, we'll call it the illness phase, I'm still recovering. I'm still healing. I'm very careful about the language that I use, that I try to use when I speak about the healing process, because I think
Yeah,
words are really powerful. And I used
yeah,
to say I'm fighting, I'm, battling, etc. And a friend kind of pointed that out to me, and I had already believed in the power of language, so that really shifted for me there. But so I like to use the word healing because that's what I'm doing. That's what I've been doing, and it's my labs prove it. So anyway, during that process, I was receiving Reiki kind of regularly. In one of those sessions, my Reiki master had intuitive angel messages for me. And one of those messages was like, you need to do something creative. And at the time, I was just doing my photography, design work, things like that, that I had been doing for years. And I was like, actually, like, she's like, is there anything you've been thinking about? And I'm like, actually, like, I have all these art supplies tucked in my storage closet here that I had photographed for a client, a big art company. So I had just been storing them, and thinking to myself, like, I was exhausted. I had little kids, like elementary age. Um, and it was like, I don't have time for that. Like, that's frivolous. I do not have time for anything else right now. And I pushed it away until this moment where she pointed that out to me. And I probably that same day I came home and I got some of it out and I started and I just haven't stopped. So it was so incredible, I think, for my like creative spirit, just for my being to have something joyful, something like
absolutely.
new and exciting to learn about, something to
Yeah,
look forward to that wasn't just the mundane, seemingly mundane, that like the motherhood, the dishes, the laundry, a break from that. And I think that in itself has been incredibly healing for me.
yeah. I think creativity and joy, and they come hand in hand when you are immersed in that creative flow. Creativity and joy are a way that opens the channel of light shining from within us. It's part of the process of releasing what you have within you out into the world in a positive way. And when we do open that channel, we contribute to our healing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. I think so much of that creative process, I think of it as a like little bit of like a recycling process, that like you're letting this light in, and that light is coming out in the form of that creation, and it just is like filling you up, and then
Yeah,
in turn also providing that same beautiful light for whoever is admiring it, whoever is inspired by it. Just, you never know the impact that even just you following your joy. And I mean, my art has not always been wonderful. I make plenty of bad art. I hope to make lots of bad art in the future, in fact. But just that beautiful process is incredible. Definitely so healing.
fabulous. Yes. So tell me a little bit more about the things that you do now as your purpose, in a more specific serving others way.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So I'll start with, I own I would call it like a boutique creative agency. So I offer really one-on-one. I like to work one-on-one and work closely. I take on fewer clients so that I can work really intimately with people. That's just the style that I prefer. And so I offer tons of things that have to do with visual identity. So that could be photographing you. That could be photographing, your place of business locally. Also product photography, more like commercial style things. I've worked with tons of Amazon sellers, which is really interesting. They're all, people think of Amazon and they think of like the big corporation, but really it's full of people just like you and I who are creating and bringing something to market, and I love working with them. And I also have started offering some more things around specific like brand identity and consulting. Also, web design is something in my sphere, copywriting, strategy for content, things like that. So that's the bulk of what I do under the name Photo Design Company, and that's a .com. And then as an artist, you probably can't see, it was a little out of reach there, but I create pretty expressive, colorful, nature-inspired works. I paint mostly in acrylic, and I love to work on paper as well as canvas, but I really enjoy working on paper for some reason. There's something extra freeing about working on paper, but I create really free-spirited works, lively. I have people kind of explain my work in that way. A lot of very like prominent brush stroking. I just kind of very, just I create it with a lot of excitement, I think, and I think that energy shows in the work that I create. And I paint a lot of flowers, sometimes women. Yeah.
And I mean, the part that I've seen is the part, the services you offer around human design and
I almost missed that
astrology.
Yeah, so that is definitely newer for me, but I have started. I felt like I was sitting with this big pink cloud of like things in my brain that I have been studying for years around the themes of astrology and human design, and doing a lot of my own personal development. And so I started putting together some offerings. A lot of them are tailored towards creatives, I would say, but at this time at least. But I've got lots of offerings for kind of, I would say, learning to read your astrology chart specifically. And I really believe in empowering others to do that. And I do offer astrology readings as well. I call them soul snapshots, where I kind of look and I can actually look and see what's going on in the cosmos right now. And so often, if you're feeling called to a reading, it's because something is like moving in your spirit, it's like prompting that. And that's so cool. It's like a treasure hunt for me to figure out what that is. But so I do love to do those, but more than that, I think I really love to empower others to have an understanding of their chart, because then they can go deeper and deeper into the layers. And I think so much of the personal discovery is really an inside job. Yeah. Especially with this energy that we're moving into, having that understanding of self. And I totally understand a need sometimes for an outside perspective to come in, and some of us actually are designed that way, where we don't see our magic and it takes someone else pointing out. So I love that.
I love to see people who are in the supportive professions simply as resources, that actually the work happens on an individual basis. It's all about the self-exploration and the choices, but the people who support us with that are people who provide a resource that helps in our development, that we get to choose.
Yeah, I'm really working on trying to create things that kind of speak to a specific roadblock that people are feeling. And so with creatives, it's like I'm finding, as I've come into the art world over the last couple of years, it's like a lot of artists are like, I don't know what to paint, or they don't understand like the depth of the work that they're meant to create, and they're searching for that. And I think this opens, there's a door opening here.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So is there anything else you'd like to share about your offerings at the moment? Anything in the pipeline?
Oh, yes. I am getting ready to put together an offering. It's actually going to be a free workshop that I'm offering, where I'm going to go into this idea of that incoming 2027 energy. And while we're in this conversation, I want everyone to understand who watches this is, 2027, we just stepped into 2025 and it feels so far away. But when we're thinking about a 400-year cycle, we've already been in this energy. I think so many of us feel like the world's shifting and changing, but we don't really have the understanding or the language to put with it. And so, we're already, the shift is here. It's not, quite at that turning point, but it's not going to be a light switch. It's this gradual unfolding. So that offering will be live sometime we're in March. Sometime later this month, I've got it organized. I need to record, and it'll be pre-recorded so you can watch in your own time, but it will kind of unpack a little bit more about what to really expect with what's to come, and some insights for, what to do with that information for yourself too. So I'm looking forward to that. And that's on my personal website, my art website. My art and my intuitive sort of soul aligned offerings are on bonniesorsby.com. And yeah, I would love for anyone to check any of those things out. And
beautiful. And I will be
my messages are open too. I am happy to chat with people who are curious about these things, and I'm looking for my tribe.
Fabulous. And you'll share all your links with me afterwards, and I will put them with this recording so that
Yes.
people have easy access to that. Well, it's been absolutely fascinating talking, and I personally feel as though I'm already in that energy that you're describing, that the kind of transition into as a solo entrepreneur who works from home and doesn't actually get to be out in the community very often, partially to do with the long-term health condition. I kind of feel as though I'm already stepping into that energy where it is about what arises from within and my unique expression. So I'm very excited about that. I'm excited to hear more from you. And I will be keeping an eye on all of your blog posts, and I may even be watching your workshop as well. So
Yeah.
I look forward to that. For those of you who are listening and don't already know me, this is the Spoonies with Purpose podcast. It's all about helping people with long-term health conditions feel inspired to find their purpose. And I do believe that Bonnie has shared lots of inspiration today. But you can also connect with other Spoonies on a similar path in my Facebook group, which is called Spiritual Spoonies with Purpose. So check that out too. So thank you, Bonnie, for joining me. I've really loved talking to you today. Take care.
Thank you so much, Julie. I really appreciate you taking time to speak with me. I enjoyed our conversation before recording this, and I've definitely enjoyed this one. And I look forward to connecting again.
Great. Take care then. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.